independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
They'll make adjustments. People understand exactly what's going on. But many of those people that won't be receiving a paycheck, many of those people agree 100% with what I'm doing. And I will tell you, I just saw a poll, 75%. It was on Fox. But I just saw a poll, 75% that immigration is so important. And it is. It's a very big issue.
Oh, my God. Did you see that? I saw a poll that says 75% of the people that agree with me, and the other 25% weren't in the room, so they could not agree, but we'll just, 17. Right? That's the day we're on right now. 17. 17 days into this. And because of the looks, right? Like that's the big thing. Because of the looks, nothing is going to get done. And you're probably saying, well, what do you mean because of the looks? How it's going to look. It is a symbol. For some people, it's a symbol of hate, right? Even though the reality is that most of the Democrats are like, we got to do something. We just can't allow this anymore. I mean, this is ridiculous. We can't allow this. Think about this. If a million people say a million people showed up today and just came through, we'd be like, well, you got to stop this. But because it's one of those things where we slowly but surely allow it to happen, we become used to it. It becomes something that becomes just one of those things that nobody really pays attention to because you don't really feel it. It's the whole, we've talked about this before. How do you boil a frog? Kind of creepy, but here it is. You put a frog in hot water, it jumps out. You put it in cold water and slowly but surely turn the water up. It's going to stay there. That's what's happened over and over again. And it is frustrating. It is. But the symbol itself is what matters. Who cares what it is? It's a wall. It's a net. It's a tsunami stopper. It's a spider web. I don't know what you want to call it. And that's what we're battling over. We're battling over names. We're battling over, it's just a bunch of baloney. And nothing's going to get done. And we're already in a situation where nothing is going to get done anyways. We'll have show votes in the House that won't even be taken up in the Senate. Things will stall to a crawl. There'll be investigation after investigation. And depending on what comes out with Mueller, and as we saw on Friday, Mueller asked for another 6 months on the grand jury. And I think this is the way I talked to somebody over the weekend. I said, if you're asking for 6 extra months, it's because what you were looking for, you didn't find. So you need another 6 months, right? But here's the other thing. Think about this. How important is it to the people in Washington right now? Because they're not there today. They don't come back till tomorrow.
But I think we're going to have some very serious talk come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have to have border security. If we don't have border security, we're going to be crime-ridden, and it's going to get worse and worse.
The games that are played by the numbers, that drives me crazy. Just be honest. Look, as a person, all I want is your honesty, right? You don't have to say that hundreds and thousands of people are killed every single year by illegal immigration for me to go, we have a problem with illegal immigration. We need to fix it. But to get people to act in this day and age, whether it's climate change, illegal immigration, you have to do what? You have to invoke an emotion. And what do? You have to strike fear. That's what you have to do.
It was so sad watching the funeral of the slain police officer yesterday, Officer Singh. That was a very sad thing. But this is going on in many places. Over the course of, if you go back to the year 2000, we have thousands of people that have been killed by illegal immigration, by people coming into the country illegally and killing our citizens. We can't have it.
And you sit there, it's like, where do you get the numbers? That's just it. And over the weekend, you had Sarah Huckabee Sanders going with Chris Wallace. And the reality is, she got challenged by him talking about these things, saying, hey, well, wait a minute here. You say that we've had 4,000 people come come here illegally that are part of terrorist organizations. And then he says, I looked into that. And quite frankly, while some of that may be true, like 90+% of them have tried to come through what? Not Mexico, not south of the border. They've tried to come through the airports, our visa program, which I've been screaming all along. Visas and ports, visas and ports, visas and ports. Those are a huge issue, too. But there's no way to deal with it in the front of everything, because this is the symbol of which a presidency came to life on as a candidacy. This was his thing, and a symbol for the left. And they're going to fight it out over that symbol, right? Doesn't matter that the visa program's broken or that how much drugs and trafficking and things come through in the ports. None of that stuff matters, because of the symbol, and the politics of that symbol matters more than anything else for raising money, for keeping relevant. That matters huge. It does. It does.
The president meant what he said, that he is prepared to fight for the wall, to continue the shutdown for months or even years.
Well, I think that's one of the things that people misunderstand. The president's not fighting for the wall. He's fighting for the protection of American citizens.
But he wants the wall to do that.
Absolutely. He wants the wall, and he wants a number of other things. We have a completely broken immigration system. We have a national crisis, not just of safety and security, but a humanitarian crisis.
We do have an issue. Let's be honest here, right? Let's be 100% honest. Even if you're a lefty who thinks Trump is, he at night, he doesn't sleep on sheets. He wears a sheet to bed, because let's be 100% honest. We have a problem here. We have a broken system that both sides exploit for their benefit, politically, monetarily, power-wise. Both sides exploit. And it's frustrating. And for all of the nightmare that Trump can be at times with some of this stuff, and the baloney and some of the figures that both sides throw out that are just, hey, here's something out of my ass, woohoo! For all of that stuff, he didn't break it. It was broken when he got here. And anybody who takes up the mantle of, I want to fix this, is going to have a lot of people in front of him saying, yeah, I don't think so. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. I love hearing from you. I wonder how long this thing's going to go. I do. I wonder how long this thing is going to go. I have a feeling it's going to go on for a while. I do. I think, and is it going to go on through the end of the month? I think so. I think we could see this thing go on through the end of the month and into February. And then we'll see. We'll see who is going to blink first.
And the Golden Globe goes to Bohemian Rhapsody.
I actually saw a movie. Now, this was very interesting. So Bohemian Rhapsody, the Golden Globes last night, and I didn't watch any of it. It's funny, I said I didn't watch it. I tweeted out, oh my God, the Golden Globes were on, and I didn't watch any of it. And you get some people who think the reason you don't watch is because of the politics that people are going to go up and scream. No, I don't. Normally, you don't see any of these things. Oddly enough, I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, and I loved it. Producer Phil, you saw Bohemian Rhapsody, and you enjoyed it as well.
I love that movie.
Yeah, and huge movie. Weird thing is, it won for Best Drama. And Green Book won for Best Musical, which I found to be weird. Because I thought, well, if anything's going to be a comedy or musical, I would have thought it would have been this. But it was a great movie, and I think it's got a chance to win an Oscar or 2 or 3. And A Star Is Born, everybody thought, oh, this is going to be its night. It won 1. It won 1. That's it. 1. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter, Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker any time of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
He has been lying to the American people, and his spokespeople continue lying to the American people. Just yesterday, his press secretary said in an interview with Chris Wallace that 4,000 terrorists had crossed the border. Chris Wallace pointed out that they had all been apprehended at airports. None at the border. There is no security crisis at the border.
Well, let's slow your roll. Let's talk about a crisis, right? For just a second, let's talk about a crisis. And that is mostly true. I love the fact that Chris Wallace called Sarah Huckabee Sanders, said about 4,200 of the 4,400 were apprehended via the visa program, which we've talked about on the show numerous times. No other show's talking about it because all I want to talk about, we're going to build a wall. It's going to save the world. It's going to be a big wall. It's going to be a shiny wall. The biggest wall in the history. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. Right? All right? Because it's just numbers. Everybody's going to pull out numbers. Trump's, how many thousands have been killed since it's just, nobody ever has facts. We live in a world where facts are loose and, quite frankly, they're irrelevant at times. That's scary. That's the scary part. For a lot of people, it's about winning an argument, and that's frustrating as hell. But before we go, there's no crisis. There is a crisis at the border. If 1 million people showed up and just entered the country today, we'd be like, what just happened? Right? If they just showed up. But because it comes in drips and drabs and dribs in here and maybe a little flow once in a while, because of that, we don't see it. We have a broken system. It is busted. It needs to be fixed. It does. It absolutely needs to be fixed. Is it going to be fixed by a wall? No. The reality is we have I've said it over and over again. I'll continue to say it. I can live with the wall or I can live without the wall. I don't think it's going to save everything, person and violent crime and drug. I just don't think it's going to do what a lot of people think it's going to do. Will it cut some stuff down? It probably will. Will it do what they think? It's hard to tell because even if we built it tomorrow, these things take years and years and decades before you start to see the exact numbers and the data comes in and you go, oh, it did work, or oh, it didn't work. Is it worth shutting the government down for? That's debatable. Depends what side of the aisle you're on, right? Depends what side of the aisle. Because if you're on Trump's side of the aisle, right? So you're on Trump's side of the aisle.
I have tremendous support within the Republican Party. If you look at Congress, you saw, with all of the numbers, you saw just a very small group of people voting, and it wasn't really against, it was a vote to open.
So you got that, right? So on his side of the aisle, it's uber popular. In my side of the world, of the echo chamber that I live in, it's really, 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 really popular. Right? It's never been more popular. This side of the aisle, it's super popular. You go to the other side of the aisle, they'll tell you, oh, it's completely not popular at all. In fact, it's horrible. Nobody wants it. No American person wants this thing. Depends who you're talking to. What I do know is we got to shut down. And it's causing issues, and it's going to continue to do so. And some of that's on us because we rely way too much on the government to do stuff. And a lot of that's on the government because they think that we need them 24/7. And they want to be a party to it. Anything that you do, they want to know that, hey, not only do we got your back, we're going to make sure that even if you try to get off your back, we're going to push you right back down. We want to be everything to you always. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you each and every day at this time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends of all ages. We like to give it to you fresh out of the oven, and that doesn't mean that it's 2018 style. No. This is 2019 style. This is your urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
Ah, yes. I like this one. Many people go on these, right? It used to be you call your ex-girlfriend or whatever, and you'd leave messages. But now we just go on tweet storms, where we just send just an excessive amount of tweets throughout the evening. Sometimes they're coherent, sometimes they're not. Sometimes the president goes on tweet storms. Sometimes celebrities go on tweet storms. Sometimes you go on a tweet storm. but we've all done it every once in a great while. We'll send out several tweets on a certain subject in a short period of time. Tweet Storm is your early 2019 urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you.
That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
In 2017, the U.S. withdrew half the personnel from its embassy in Havana when several officials reported getting sick after hearing a mysterious noise. The Associated Press posted this recording of that noise. At the time, the U.S. accused Cuba of launching a sonic attack, but now 2 researchers suggest the workers were just hearing crickets like these. The researchers from Berkeley and the UK have not had their findings published or peer-reviewed, but they determined the Cuba noise matches cricket noise in duration, power spectrum, and pulse. Cuba has called the allegations of a sonic attack mass hysteria.
Now, I'm going to call BS on this because I, being of sound mind and having a massive amount of crickets at my house. Oh, you live in the woods? No, I don't. But I do have large critters that like to eat crickets. People always laugh because I've got big lizards, very large lizards that are huge. And I feed them crickets as much as possible because it's in the wild, even though they may be 5-6 feet long, bugs are some of the stuff they eat throughout the day because it's a lot easier to find that than rats, mice, or whatever else things they can find. And so I've got a ton of crickets. You know what? I hear just fine. I don't have any headaches. I don't have any Dane Bramage. I'm fine. But I love the fact that can you hear this? Yeah, stop it. Stop it with that. Stop it. Cuba, you guys were sneaky. We knew it. By the way, the Chinese apparently have this technology of these radio waves that they can do these kind of things. They've been working on it. I'm sure we have as well. But it's not crickets. It's not crickets. My God. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. If that was true, everybody at PetSmart and everywhere else around where they've got crickets would be suffering from something. I don't think that's happening. I'm just saying, I don't think that's happening. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
What we do know from the TSA is that the number of call-outs, people calling in sick, is up by a small amount. It happened over the holidays. What TSA wonders, is that the flu? Is it the holiday season? Is it that folks are trying to make a political statement? Or from the union, there's some suggestion that people were taking sick days so they could find other jobs and actually get a check that they could put in their bank accounts.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm assuming people are looking elsewhere. People texting in. I'm looking for other work. I'm going to go work with, Uber or Lyft, or I have to find something else because I don't know how long it's going to go. And tomorrow night, Trump's going to give a speech, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. He's going to give a speech. What is it going to be about? It's going to be about this, the shutdown. Is there a solution to be had? Both sides need to feel like they've won. So I don't know if there's a solution to be had. But what I do know is at this point in time, when you look at it the way it is, I think that nobody's really feeling like they've lost anything yet, right? It isn't until somebody feels like they're losing something that, because the IRS is going to make sure that your tax returns are coming to you, your refunds and stuff are coming to you. There's a lot of that stuff going on. So it while it's affecting some 800,000, right, which is about 22% of the government, it's nobody's lost yet. And until there's a loser, until there's a clear-cut side that is feeling the heat and the pressure and that there's a loss, I think it's going to drag on through at least the next month or so. So think about this. If it goes, let's just say it goes another 4 weeks. By the time people start working again, then they get paid. For some people, they'll get a check at the end of next month for all of the time they've accrued now and put in. The people that have had to come to work because they're an essential part of the government, but aren't going to be paid until the government reopens. But the people who are furloughed, you could be looking at 6 to 8 weeks before you see another paycheck. And that's tough for a lot of people in a day-to-day world that we live in, where a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. That is absolutely going to be just tough, too tough for some people to handle. And people are looking at the TSA, what's going on there. And yeah, I get it. Man, I get it. I do. I've been in situations like that. It sucks. It does. I've been in startups where we didn't get paid for, 2 months, 3 months. It was blood, sweat, and there was no guarantee that the money was coming. We were putting together funding, and it was, man, sleeping in when I first started my company, let me tell you something. My buddies and I was sleeping in my office in Newport Beach, California. I was sleeping in my office. It's tough, man. It sucks, and you don't know when it's coming. So until there's a loser, meaning until somebody actually looks like they're paying the price politically, some side acts like they're paying the price politically, they're feeling the pressure, the numbers are dumping down. Until that happens, I think they both stand on their moral high grounds and say, look here, look what we've got. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. The Super Bowl is not too far away. Yesterday, the playoffs happened. God, we'll talk a little later about they've changed it now, Phil. If you didn't see the Chicago game, Cody Parkey missed the kick. He was the kicker. End of the game, it doinked twice. He missed the kick. Now they've changed it from a missed kick to a blocked field goal because it did actually get tipped. Doesn't make him feel better, I'm sure, but it did, at least somebody got a hand to it. So, but halftime show still having some issues.
Gerald Griggs, vice president of the Georgia NAACP, has a dream.
Who knows? Maybe there won't be a Super Bowl halftime.
Hoping to shine a light on police shootings and the NFL's treatment of the player who started the Take a Knee movement, Colin Kaepernick. Griggs says he's already contacted some of the biggest music acts in the world, asking them to forego any offer from the NFL to perform at the Super Bowl in Atlanta this year. And as for rapper Travis Scott, reportedly confirmed to perform at halftime, Griggs hopes to convince him to pull out as well.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do know that, they're looking around and they're trying to find somebody who wants to perform alongside, is it Maroon 5 or, I don't know who it is. It's Maroon 5, I think. I think it's Maroon 5. Or as I like to call them, the American version of Nickelback and Coldplay. And they want to find another artist. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it hasn't been a huge issue this year. It really hasn't been a massive issue this year the way it was. And TV ratings, especially over the weekend, were up big time. And for all of the stuff that we talk, football's dead, this, that, for all of those things, know this, that even last year with the ratings down, they still dominated. And football ratings are up this year, and they're still dominating across the board. They want Kaepernick back.
If Georgia NAACP Vice President Gerald Griggs has his way, there will be no halftime entertainment at the Super Bowl this year.
He wants that. No halftime whatsoever this year. So what happens? And I've talked to several NFL players who've played in the Super Bowl because being around here and having a sports station in-house, we've had several of them in there, and they would be fine with that. Because you think about this. So you play a football game, right? You're out there. It's the biggest game of your life. It is the Super Bowl. It may be the only shot you have. You could be Tom Brady where every year, you figure every other year there's a good chance you're going to be there. And you play your ass off. You've got all the hoopla before the game, the weeks leading up to the game, all morning of the game. You go out and you play a first half, and then you have to wait 35 minutes to 40 minutes before you even have a chance to get back on the field. I don't think they would care too much if there wasn't a halftime show. But the halftime show is huge. It is. Do I think that Kaepernick is going to be reinstated? He's not kicked out of the league. Nobody wants him, right? And coaches and people I've talked to, even some players, say they doubt he wants to even play because his brand is he's a martyr. And because of that, nobody's sure he even wants to play. And it's been a few years. So I don't think he does want to play. But we'll see. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So here's the deal. It is the first full week of 2019. We are less than 6 months away from the first debates on the Democratic side for 2020. People are making their pitches, and one of them, of course, is Elizabeth Warren.
She spoke of growing up poor in Oklahoma, a close call with foreclosure on her family home, her brothers and their service in the military, getting into college, and then she would like to say that she fell in love, get some laughs from the audience. She dropped out young to raise her family, and then eventually she became a U.S. senator. So her message was that she sort of got that American dream, and now she sees Washington corruption as taking it away, and she wants to fight to take it back.
Yeah, she wants to fight to take it back. That's her goal, is to fight to take it back, and it's really good. I mean, it's inspiring to think a person of color could just really push, especially a female person of color could be. She's done this to herself, right? Hasn't she kind of done this? Can we just be honest? She's done this a little bit to herself. But to think that we are in a point where we are a week into 2019. Biden will announce maybe within the next 2 weeks. He said very soon. You got Julie Castro. People are lining up. Kamala Harris. They're ready. And the first one to throw a war bonnet in is, of course, Elizabeth Warren.
She focused on her humble roots over everything. Over and over, she turned the focus from party divide to common American values. She barely ever mentioned that she was a former law professor at Harvard.
Or a former Native American Cherokee warrior. She'd never mentioned that one time. Or a person of color. Oh my God, it's starting. That's the thing. It's starting already. And Bernie, who I think will throw his hat in the ring soon. What kind of hat do you think he'd wear? Does it be like a bowler? Does Bernie feel like a bowler, producer Phil?
No.
Top hat? Top hat? I'd say top hat. Maybe a top hat or a bowler. So you might throw that at pork pie. You might throw that into the ring. But today, it was like over the weekend, it was like an article from his basically his home state saying, please, Bernie, for the love of God, this election is too important. Don't run. Whatever you do, don't run. Please don't run. Please, please, please don't run. Don't run. Don't run. But I think he's going to. I think he's going to. I think what you saw with the Republicans, right? What you saw with the Republicans, where they were going to set up like 3 stages, and it was like you could get relegated from the big stage to the little stage, and you could be promoted from the little stage to the big stage. I think we're going to see that this year. I think Eric Garcetti, mayor of Los Angeles, is going to throw his hat into the ring as well. I mean, there's just a ton of people that you're not really familiar with on a national level, but how many of them at this moment in time can you say unequivocally that they can beat Donald Trump? He's not afraid of Elizabeth Warren. No. Biden? No. Hillary's not. She's not. I think that ship is sunk. I don't think it sails anymore. I think it just sunk. Right? Beto would be interesting. I think he gives them a better chance than rolling out Elizabeth Warren or any of these other has-beens or have passed you bys So we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Got a poll question up. We'll touch on that. I saw a movie that I loved over the weekend with Jack, and we'll talk about the man that is the GOAT in Chicago. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
All right, kids. Now, this is yesterday. So here, let me paint the picture for you. You didn't see it. Chicago, cool day, perfect Chicago weather, taking on Philadelphia. Mitch Trubisky led the team down, some mismanagement, timeout, things like that. But next thing you know, they have a chance to win the game. Cody Parkey kicking 43 yards, slight breeze. This is how they called it, English style.
Ball is snapped, placed, kicked, and it is no good! No good! It is no good, and the Eagles win!
He missed it!
It is no good!
Boring. This is the Spanish version of the same call.
Snap, le mete el pie, distancia, dirección, le dio el poste. ¡No! ¡Falló! ¡Oh! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡Los Eagles se van con la victoria! ¡Ay, papá! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡Chicago! ¡Chicago! ¡Nos vamos para New Orleans! ¡Filadelfia gana el partido! ¡Le dio al poste! ¡Le dio al poste!
Oh, my God. That was the... Can we all admit it's just more entertaining? Can we? No, senor! No, senor! No, Chicago! Chicago! Could you imagine being that guy today, Cody Parkey? Now, they changed it from a missed field goal, and he's had troubles. So right before he was going to snap the ball, and they snapped it, they called timeout. So they froze him out because, you know, you're not taking your timeouts with you. So they called timeout, and they froze him out of it, as they call. They tried to ice the kicker, right? And so he missed the kick, and he had doinked a few kicks this year. He had missed more than a few kicks this year. He had some issues, and it was a double doink. It was a doink off the left uprights, down onto the crossbar, then down below. And it's a game of inches. It was. It was just awful, I'm sure, if you're him. Now, they've changed the kick today from missed field goal to blocked because in slow motion, you can see one of the Eagles actually get his fingers to it. I don't know how much that changed directory because it still got up there. And in a way, he should have made it. He should have absolutely made it. He talked about it yesterday, and you could just hear the devastation.
One of the worst feelings in the world to let your team down. So I feel terrible. I'm going to continue to put things in perspective, continue to just put my best foot forward, and just sleep at night knowing that I did everything in my power this week to go and make that kick. And for whatever reason, at the crossbar and the upright, and I still couldn't do it. So. Yeah, I feel terrible.
And the memes were, I don't know if you saw the memes, Phil, where they had the field goal, the goalpost up, and there was like goalposts like every 2 feet across it. It's like when a regular person sees a field goal, this is what it looks like when Cody Parkey sees it. Because I think he hit the post like 6 times. And if you like, I come from Los Angeles, and we always get hammered for being like a pretty weak sports town because if you're not doing well, we got 500,000 things to do all the time. Right. But for a lot of places, cold weather places, like it's a live and breathe. And when I lived in England, it was kind of the same thing. London fans didn't seem to be as diehard potentially as fans in the northern of England, where they lived and breathed every second of, you know, whether it's Manchester or Sunderland, they lived and breathed that. Oh, my Lord. Oh, so we'll see. You know what? You want to see a guy rise again. That's the one thing. You don't get the same thing like you do in the entertainment world where in this world that we live in now, where we want to punish people. We don't like somebody's politics or something they said that was completely, politically incorrect. We want to see them never rise again. Sports is one of those things where you do want to see somebody pick themselves up. You want to see that this time next year, they're going to have a chance and that they make that kick. And it's kind of funny the way that we look at the world, where in this thing, if you say something wrong, tweet something wrong, somebody takes something wrong, we want to destroy you. Where in this one, where you miss something that actually has consequences on the game and the team and all of that stuff, we'd like to see you rise again. That is funny. Maybe we should be a little bit more like that than the latter than the first. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Poll question of the day. How long do you think this thing's going to go on for? A week? Through January? Months? Years? 21% say till the end of the week. 60% of you say it's through January. 9% say last month. About 10% say it's going to last years. I don't think it's going to last years, but I do think it's going to get through January into next month. So it'll be very interesting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. No, senor. No, senor. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
They'll make adjustments. People understand exactly what's going on. But many of those people that won't be receiving a paycheck, many of those people agree 100% with what I'm doing. And I will tell you, I just saw a poll, 75%. It was on Fox. But I just saw a poll, 75% that immigration is so important. And it is. It's a very big issue.
It is a big issue. It is a big issue. Absolutely. 110%. People will adjust. People like Julie Burr.
The pay period of the 16th through the 31st, I had 63 hours that we did work before the shutdown. I have not been able to submit my timesheet that I know of because there's no one to approve it in the office where I work. Well, fortunately, I was given the advice to set up a GoFundMe, and I made a goal of approximately 2 months of salary because I wasn't sure how long this would last, and I have met my goal, so I appreciate everyone helping with that.
There you go. GoFundMe. How about that? Hey, why stop at 2 months? Why not see if you can double dip? Chad, you're being rude. I know. It is what it is. Just get over it. I don't know what people are going to do. There are people out there, and let's talk about the size of the government. It's about 22% of government that's not working or that's not being paid. About 11% is working. The hours are counting. They're just not able to get paid until the government reopens. The other ones are furloughed, which means they're not going to be paid for this unless they use vacation or something like that. So they're not going to be getting any of their pay if they come back. And how long is that going to be? Tomorrow night, Trump's going to give a big speech, right? 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. I don't know what's going to be involved in that. I don't. But you heard Trump there. He's got a lot of people who approve with what he's doing. They're over the moon with what he's doing. On the other side of stuff, again, in his echo chamber, in his world, that thing is flying just fine.
The last poll last week, people were asked not whether they're for or against the wall, but should President Trump shut down the government to get his wall? And about 22% said yes.
Oh, okay. 22% said yes. 22% said, yep. 22%. Here's my thing. Nobody's hurt yet. Oh, there may be some workers that are struggling and it sucks and it's awful. But as far as the political side, nobody is suffering in the public's eye. They're slinging mud back and forth at each other. They're pointing fingers at one another. but nobody is suffering any kind of real issue politically. And until it gets uncomfortable for one side or both sides to the point where they can't bear it any longer, then nothing is going to happen. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking, if this is an act of attrition, and that's what it is, who can go longer? My money's on Trump. He doesn't care how it affects the Republicans. Right? And if you look at the polls, the Republicans are kind of like, nobody's really blaming them because they're looking at Trump saying, well, he's the one that's doing this. And Trump has said, I'm the one that's doing this. And here's what I'm putting forth. And there's a few out there that are on Trump's side and some other ones quietly have mentioned that, well, we maybe could do some other things. But the reality is they're not getting the blame. It's going to either the Democrats or Trump. And third is the Republicans. All of them have a part to play in this. The Democrats and the Republicans, because they've allowed this to happen over years and years, that we have this situation that we have currently. And Trump, because he has built his entire candidacy and now his presidency on building a wall. He wants $5 billion, which I think are, give or take, we're at what, like $4 to $5 trillion as far as our budget goes. So about 1% of the budget to build a portion of a fence, a wall, a slat, a tsunami catcher, an art project, whatever it is that you want to call it. That's what that is. So until somebody feels the pain on the political side of stuff, this is what you have. Until that happens, I don't think you're going to see a shutdown, fixed anytime soon. I don't. I think this is going to go on for maybe another 4 weeks or 6 until the polls really start to bear out that way. And right now, the polls, according to 538, that's Nate Silver, he's got the sentiment changing towards the Democrats and who might get the blame for this. And part of that is because people are showing over and over again that they voted for it on numerous occasions and now don't want any part of it. And this isn't they voted on it when television was in black and white. This was they voted on it recently, but now they're looking at it as, well, it's very partisan politics. It is very partisan politics. That's the world we live in. It's partisan politics. It's tribalism. And Trump, I think, can outlast. And I think his base can really outlast the base of the Democrats, because the Democrats are all about what? They're all about the party of the people, and they're looking at workers that are being hurt, and those workers are going to look up and say, what are you doing? When are you going to fix this? Why can't you come to some sort of agreement? I think that's going to happen on the left side of the aisle before it happens on the right side of the aisle. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. It is interesting. I mean, it was just, the whole weekend watching some of this stuff. And yesterday I was in a hotel and I'm hanging out and I woke up kind of early. Jack just, he's up all night watching YouTube. I think he woke me up at like 4 a.m. He's like, Dad, the iPad's dying. Where's the cord? I'm like, why are you still up? I'm like, oh, yeah, because you're 8 and you want to watch YouTube. And I'm like, whatever. But I woke up and I was watching Sarah Huckabee Sanders on with Chris Wallace. And they talked about stuff. And he asked some very good questions about, hey, when's this stuff going to get done? And, like the whole wall thing, you want to, how effective is it?
And we want to do not just the wall. Certainly, that's one of the most important factors. We know that it works. We know that in the places that it's been, it's 95% effective. We want to be effective across the board, and that includes the wall and other technology.
Well, we need other technology. But she also went on to say, some 4,000 people who were labeled terrorists and or had links to terrorist organizations or terrorists themselves were caught. And then Chris Wallace basically said, yeah, but not by the border, not coming through the border. A majority of those, some 90+% of those were visa programs. And, she was like, and that's the reality of it. Nobody is in any way, shape, or form concerned with the truth. They're concerned with politics. How does it make me look? How am I looking? What's my Q score, my Q rating? right? Am I favorable? Am I rating well with men and women 18 to 34 and women, that's what they're looking at. And it's a very sad situation that we're in this predicament where we're looking at it going, how do you look? Doing what? Nothing? You look awful doing nothing. Both of you. You look awful doing nothing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I found this to be very interesting. Remember, the world we live in is evolving. And we've got the Gen Xers, me, right? You got the millennials, and then you have the Z.
Do you work with Generation Zs? Then you've probably experienced this.
They're going to ask why. Like, why am I being given this task? Why am I being assigned this? As opposed to just being given a task and going away and doing it. They want to understand the rationale.
Mark Beal, a professor at Rutgers University, on what sets Zs apart.
They're looking for mentors, not managers. They're looking to bring technology and apps and solutions that they've been using in college to the workforce to create greater efficiencies, especially as it relates to time.
Beal is the author of Decoding Generation Z 101.
Yeah, and I found that to be interesting because it's like dealing with my son who's, he's the why. Why, Dad? Why? What about this? Why? What about that? Well, what about this? What about that? Why over there? Why do you think that? And I get the mentors and the you're looking for that because I think everybody should have mentors. I have, still do, people that I rely on, that I go to. But I also recognize there is management. And I think that's the difference in this generation is, and you see it with Ocasio-Cortez, and we're going to get into it a little bit deeper with her, is, she's already coming in and demanding and talking before she's ever done a thing. You've got several of these younger generation that's coming in, and they're coming in a way that is totally just like, it's ours, it's mine, and it's like, slow your roll, understand how this works. But when you're a manager, and I think many of you listening to this know this, you've got to manage in a much different way. Not only are all the Me Too and the jokes and that you better watch out and this, that. I mean, there's all these other things that you have to worry about, discrimination. If you tell somebody, well, I think we need somebody younger for this. You got to watch out for all of that stuff. You also have to manage now almost on an individual basis. Long gone is the day where you could just cut a wide path and say, this is how I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to manage like this. Everybody gets treated the same. I'm an equal opportunity, whatever. Now it's, you got to manage this person. And you see it in sports in particular, right? You got to manage each one of them as an individual because they're their own brand, they're their own this, that, and the other. And the young generation feels that way. And for those of you who think, it's stupid, it's horrible, understand this. They're coming in droves. They're going to be a powerhouse when it comes to the work world in a huge way. And it's going to be a powerhouse when it comes to the voting world. So whether you think they're full of it and they're idiots and they're morons, you're wrong. They're coming. And just like they have to adapt to certain things, an older generation, including myself, in many ways, you have to adapt to different things. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Poll question of the day. We'll talk about that straight ahead. And we're going to have a little Ocasio-Cortez, right? Ocasio-Cortez. AOC, right? Is that AOC? Is that what she calls herself? She was on with Anderson Cooper. Very interesting on 60 Minutes. We'll touch on that, too. And we got a little Say What for you this hour. Kids, we're just getting ready to just unleash the beast. Are you ready for it? 2019's here in a big way. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Got that sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
More autonomous cars, drones, foldable display screens, 8K TVs, and the biggest game changer will be 5G, which is the first major evolution in wireless infrastructure in nearly a decade, and how it'll be implemented into smart devices and then given a practical use.
Yeah, CES is going on, Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. Very cool, all the cool stuff. And I can't wait for 5G. 5G is, and we've had Paul Lamona, our tech guy, on talking about how this is truly like a game changer. how it is. Your phone is going to go 1,000 miles an hour, and it is going to be incredible. 8K television. I mean, how many shows are in 4K? Now we're jumping to 8K. Soon they're just going to deliver people, and they'll act out whatever you want them to act out. And sometimes it gets so clear it just doesn't look right. And I'm like, I want to go back to film when it looked a little different. So, but one of the big things when I was reading about this is the fact that what people are looking for is how to protect their data, and not from hackers, but from marketing companies. How do I opt out of geolocation? How do I protect myself from the companies out there that are collecting my data, not to use it in a nefarious way and try to steal my bank account and my credit, my identity, but rather to sell me on to all kinds of marketing companies that are going to use me and target me for marketing. And that, they say, is one of the big things that's out there, because there's a lot of companies out there saying, look what we can do. We can protect you. Look how we can protect you. We can protect you here. We can protect you there. And we can show you. And I don't know how much of that's real. I just think that because we live our lives so out there, because we live our lives in a way that is so just in front of the world, and we've been okay with it and I've noticed this as I've talked to a lot of people, like my producers. I've got a producer that is older than me, and I got a producer that's younger than me, and I've got one that's my age. And my age and above, they don't want the information collected. A younger generation, and through the interns I've talked to, they could care less. They just feel like, it is what it is. They don't think about the nefarious. They look at government and entities like that as not as nefarious as we look at it with a suspicious eye. Like, why do you need my information? Why do you want all of this stuff? Why do you need this? Why are you looking at me? Why? They don't care. To them, it's just, I don't care, right? Because they've grown up with it so in their face, and they're fine with it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us, still talking about the shutdown and how it's affecting people. And it is affecting people. And I don't think we take away the people that work for the government who are struggling. What about the people that rely on certain services that aren't open right now, and how that affects them?
It is our food allocation for the month. Everything that we get, it's just meant for whatever meals we have.
Yeah, that's a woman right there who is looking at SNAP saying, okay, what's going to happen here? How am I going to take care of things?
We're a single income family. I have anxiety and depression, and I'm not able to work. And my husband works, and we've got 4 kids.
Yeah, 4 kids. And this is where I'm going to get a bunch of text messages. Who cares? That's your fault for having 4 kids. I understand what you're saying. But the reality is these are human beings. We need to figure things out. And we've got 2 parts of government that are so invested in a certain small vocal minority that they're afraid to actually sit down and talk with one another. And in particular, I'm talking about the left side of the aisle more than I am the right side of the aisle. But both sides are extremely tribal and ridiculous. And neither side wants to give, and there is collateral damage in a situation like this. And there's a collateral damage across the board, not just for people like this that are hurt, but for the taxpayers who for a year have been footing the bill, and neither side has been doing them a real service the way it should be done. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of taxes, she wants to tax you potentially up to 70%. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was on 60 Minutes with Anderson Cooper. Very interesting. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Everybody's playing games. But I can say this. I think that the Democrats want to make a deal. I really do. I feel that.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Both sides. Nobody wants to see this, right? And somebody just texted me and said, every time you say the shutdown, I throw up. That could last, months or years. It's not going to last years. It's not. This is unfortunately the game that both sides are playing because they want to be morally superior on their side. Trump wants to say, I've got a victory. Look at this. I said I was going to do something, and I did it. The other side wants to say, look, he's evil, he's bad, we're the heroes. We weren't going to allow that wall to be built, and everybody else is stuck in the middle of this nightmare. And I don't think it's going to go on for years. I know that Trump said that, but it's not going to go on for years. It's not. But will it possibly go on through the beginning of February? I think that's a very real likelihood. And I was Nate Silvers at 538. That's his thing. He actually said that public sentiment is now changing from Trump being the one blamed for the shutdown to the other side. Because both sides, I think, are very disingenuous when they talk to the media. That they always say, well, nobody in the country wants the wall, or everybody in the country wants the wall. Not everybody in the country wants the wall. But you can't be honest and say nobody wants the wall, right? I'm one of these people, I can live with it or without it. We've lived without it for this long. How would we know if our immigration system's broken or not if we don't enforce any of the laws that go along with said system, right? That's a big thing, and that's what this is about, right? It's the symbol of it all. It really is, but now it's starting to hurt people in a way that this is the third longest one we've had. And we always seem like we have these things, but usually they don't last very long. This is the third longest shutdown. And now SNAP and the IRS, because, many people saying, do you think I'm not going to get my check? And I'm like, I don't even know if you're getting money back, and I'm not an accountant. But, these are the things that will affect people, and the pressure is going to come from somewhere. And I think the pressure that's going to come is going to be at the Democrats saying, look, it's $5 billion. We waste $5 billion on all kinds of crap. Can't you sort something out?
It's looking like we're only going to get a part of our benefits next month, and none the following month. And if we get none, we'll be really hurting to try to feed our kids.
Yeah, and that's sad. It's sad that we're in a situation like this, but this is what we have now because our partisan politics, our tribal politics is so nasty, and it's so ugly, and it's so in your face. And it is so not only conducted in D.C., where they go out and they get in their microphones and they say this and they say that. It's conducted on 24/7 news cycles, on the television with cable. But big time, it's conducted in social media world. And that right there is, to me, a huge problem because too often than not, they're listening to a select few people rather than thinking to themselves, what's the right thing to do? What is the right thing to do? Because at some point in time, somebody is not going to be the winner. I think you can both walk away and say we each got a little bit of something, but we want to hold them to this ridiculous standard. It's 100% or nothing. It's 100% or nothing. One of the things I've said all along, whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump, and I've said this, it doesn't matter if it's Social Security reform, if it's immigration reform, if it's Medicare reform, whatever you take on, if you really want to take it on and try to find a fix politically, you got to have the ironclad stomach because it is a beast in a place where they don't like change, especially if it goes against the narrative which they choose on both sides to push out there. And that right there is something I think people really need to understand, that when you take something like this on, right? When you take something like this on, be prepared because it's going to be a battle. It is going to be a fight and it's going to get ugly. And both sides were just fine with the status quo, and somebody's come along and said, if the next person comes along, whoever he or she is, says, you know what, we really need Social Security reform because this isn't going to work, you're going to get the same kind of battle if they have the stomach to do it. And many times, most people just say, I don't got the stomach for it.
She moved back to the Bronx after graduating college and spent the next few years working as a community organizer and advocate for children's literacy. In May of 2017, the one-bedroom apartment she shares with her boyfriend became her makeshift campaign headquarters as she launched a seemingly improbable run for Congress. She was working as a waitress and bartender at the time. Like many members of her generation, she says she had student loans to pay and no health insurance.
I really understood the frustration that working people had across the political spectrum. You know, when anybody is saying the economy is going great, we are at record levels, there's a frustration that says, well, the economy is good for who?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. First, I want to say, I've seen the video. Producer Phil, you and I both are heterosexual, virile, we'd like to think youngish men. I saw the video of her dancing, the people on the right freaking out about it, and I thought to myself, there's a 20-something-year-old hottie with a good look dancing around. What's wrong with that?
I didn't find
Get over yourselves. No, and I love the song, Listomania. Listomania by Phoenix. Good song. But it's ridiculous. This is the thing with they give her so much. They want to make fun of her because they're at times they're a bit scared. They're a bit scared of her politics. I get that. Her politics is at times uncomfortable. It is. But for her generation, they love her. And you've got to realize that generation's a huge voting bloc, and it's going to get bigger. They may not vote in mass right now. It is the biggest voting bloc, but they're going to. And they look towards her. Do I like her politics? No. Am I threatened by her? No. Did I think her dancing around and shaking her, her moneymaker was awful? No. Good God. It was just like, I was watching. I was like, wow. Some of these people, I saw some of these replies, and I thought to myself, I feel like this is like, it's like the Amish. Did they get a hold of the internet? That's what I kept feeling like. So she's on there last night, and she just, Anderson, he kind of, he gave it to her. Chad, I don't think he does that. I get it. I know, but he did. He was willing to ask some questions. He was able to push it a little bit, which I think is real. Like yesterday, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she's on with Chris Wallace, Fox. He threw some numbers at her. He came back at her. I think a good journalist will do things like that, even if you do show at times your bias, and in this day and age, that happens, right? Because we don't hide it anymore. They don't try to be objective and neutral. They let it out. He did, he threw some stuff at her, and I think that's a good thing because you need that because very often it's not the first question, but the second and third that you're going to get the answer.
I mean, unemployment is at record lows.
I don't think that tells the whole story. When you can't provide for your kids, working a full-time job, working 2 full-time jobs, when you can't have health care, that is not dignified.
Okay, so it's not. Does it tell the whole story? No, she's right. It doesn't tell the whole story. Let's be real. Right? Nothing tells the whole story. There's stories everywhere. Remember, every story out there is your individual story, right? Some people, they've been handed a bad lot in life and they've tried everything, and sometimes the only luck they have is bad luck. Other people have made their own bad luck and then decry to the world how life is unfair to them, that they've got to work these 2 part-time jobs and be a Uber or Lyft driver just to try to barely make ends meet, only to find out that they've put themselves in horrific situations by making poor choices. One of the other things that he asked her basically is, hey, you tell some, how should we say this? You tell some lies.
She's been accused of being dishonest about the true cost of her proposals and the tax burden they would impose on the middle class. She's also been criticized for making factual mistakes.
One of the criticisms of you is that your math is fuzzy. The Washington Post recently awarded you 4 Pinocchios
oh my goodness.
For misstating some statistics about Pentagon spending.
If people want to really blow up one figure here or one word there, I would argue that they're missing the forest for the trees. Oh, my goodness.
Here's the scary part that you should think about, though, when it comes to a lot of what she wants and a lot of what the left believes. And I don't think people understand this, and I've said this all along. No longer is it about truth. And we've seen this over the last umpteen years as it started to roll in here. Truth is not, when I was a kid growing up, it's like, you tell the truth, right? Sometimes it hurts, sometimes it sucks, but it will set you free, if you will. But I have said over and over again that the left has this want and need to always be on a moral high ground, and no matter what happens at that point in time when they're on that moral mountain, even if what they're saying is not true, because it comes from the place of heart and love and caring and compassion, even if it's not true, it's the only thing that should matter.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important. And whenever I make a mistake, I say, okay, this was clumsy. And then I restate what my point was. But it's not the same thing as the president lying about immigrants. It's not the same thing at all.
Because yours is coming with feelings, and that matters more. You're coming with the moral superiority because you feel like you're good. Do I think it's right that the president, like all politicians, sit there and distort numbers, pull things out of their butt, and says things that at times are just ridiculous? No, I don't. I don't think it's right at all. I don't. No. Who should? Right? The whole thing is we should try to find the truth of what it is. And even if it hurts your feelings, that's the thing that matters, is the truth, the data, the numbers, what it bears out across the board. It's the thing that I've talked about all the time when it comes to like Trump. They have this want of moral superiority, like their hate trumps his hate because they come from a better place. It's crap, and that can't happen. And the numbers that she's talking about, the 70% at times of taxation that she wants to put on the wealthy and this stuff is, I just sit there and laugh. I do. I'm like, well, good luck with that. Because even if you do a lot of the things you think you want to do, which you're not going to have happen, even if you were able to do that, it's still not going to be enough to pay for what you think you want to have happen. Social justice, gender, racial justice, on top of your green new energy plan, still not going to be enough. It'll never be enough. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. And stop making fun of the fact that she danced around in a college video. My God, what were you doing in college? I'd say that to Phil and I. We're like, oh, we were lost. But just amazing. Good God. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. MyPillow. Oh, God, I slept well. I did. I needed that over the weekend. I drove a lot, had my go-anywhere pillow. Just slept like I needed to sleep. Well, you can do the same. They got a BOGO going on. Buy one, get one free. If you don't know anything about MyPillow, know this. 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. And this is 2019. Why are you still sleeping on pillows that aren't helping you get the best night's sleep? I don't know. How do you get the BOGO? Call 800-944-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. When you do, use promo code Benson. That's 800-944-4975 or MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Remember, you're going to buy one, get one free. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
I was talking to producer Phil. So yesterday I was watching the game because we got playoffs are here. And Melvin Gordon, running back for the Chargers, gets into an Uber. And he starts filming because the guy's talking about, man, you're going to go watch the game tomorrow. Baltimore's going to crush, the Chargers. And he has no idea who this guy is in the back of the car. So he's like, why are they going to kill the Chargers? Like, they got nobody. He goes, well, they got Phillip Rivers. He's a Hall of Famer. They got Antonio Gates. He's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, he goes, but, we got Lamar Jackson. He's who cares about Hall of Famers? This guy's a Heisman Trophy winner. And, it's his hometown. So he's going to town for him. And Melvin's playing along with him, and they're talking about football. And he goes, "Well, I'll root for Rivers to get up and to be safe through the game. But it's going to happen. This is what's going to happen." And at the end of the ride, for about 5 minutes, he says, "Hey man, thanks for the ride." He goes, "By the way, I'm Melvin Gordon. I'm the running back for the Chargers." And the guy's like, "No, you're not. Give me a card." He says, "I don't have a card." He goes, "Take a picture with me, sign something." And Melvin was totally cool with it, but I was sitting there laughing, going, "Oh, that's just because," and this is the thing about football and a lot of sports, is you don't know who the guy is, right? You don't. He's got a mask, he's got a helmet on. You may not know exactly who the guy is, but that was just, it was hilarious. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Blondes. Do men prefer blondes, yes or no? Yes. Men prefer blondes. According to a new study, gentlemen do prefer blondes. This according to the Journal of Social Psychology, right? They like the light hair. I like dark hair, right? So, and this is the funny thing is, they prefer natural blondes, not bottle blondes. So think about that for a second. Augsburg University in Minnesota showed 110 pictures to men of various women, black, brown, blonde hair. So ton of pictures, and asked them to rate on perceived age, health, physical attractiveness, relationship potential, and parenting capability. The results revealed, compared to women with dark hair, men found that light hair women were more attractive overall, but more specifically perceived them as younger and healthier. Here's the one thing. It's the downfall of it all, I guess, if you will, if you're looking at the downside for this. They also perceive them to be more promiscuous and not faithful. Oh, yeah. Just, throwing it out there. Blondes have more fun, right? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. People are tweeting in about Ocasio-Cortez. I don't hate Ocasio-Cortez. I don't. I know there's a lot of people in my industry can't stand her. She is what she is. I don't like her politics, but she's got a following. A lot of you, she's stupid, she's a moron, she's all, everybody's got their own opinion. I'm just not that type of person. And we'll tell you this, though. Her dancing around and shaking her butt and doing all that kind of thing in college, where did we get to this world where we were just so, uptight? Just slow your roll and let it go. My God. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Go Tigers! Clemson. Hold that tiger. Hold that tiger. Say what? Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're not answering my question. He meant what he said. He's prepared to continue this fight, this shutdown, for months or even years.
Absolutely. The president means what he says when he says that. But it would be outrageous for Democrats who agree with the president. That's what's the most outrageous thing to me, and something that, frankly, is so just incomprehensible. They agree with the president. They agree that we need border security. They just are unwilling to let this president win.
Neither side wants to let the other side win because they don't see it as a victory for the American people. They see it as a loss for their side. And when you have two sides, you're going to have competing interest. And the competing interest is, how do we get new customers? How do we keep our customers, which is the voting base? How do we do that? Well, we can't let the other side, right? We can't let Coke beat us. We can't let Pepsi beat us. But yet, no, it's ridiculous. It's a victory for us if we get something sorted out. I don't know what that sorted out thing is. And here's the funny thing. Both sides, in the end, privately, while not publicly, agree that we need to do something to fix immigration. We have a different path. But because of that, we're in a situation where our government and some 800,000 employees, 400,000 are being furloughed, means they're not working and they're not getting paid. The other 400,000 are working. They're not being paid, but when the government reopens for the hours they've worked, they will be paid. And then how about the ripple effect from certain parts of the government not being open, which is going to affect things like, SNAP, food stamps, things of that nature. There's a lot of issues out there. There is. And we're talking about a wall. We're talking about naming it something different. We're talking about what should it be? What shouldn't it be? Is it a wall? Are they slabs? Is it a fence? Is it a tsunami catcher? Is it a piece of art? Can we call it a piece of art? Make each 50 yards a different piece of art? I don't know what you call it. And then there's the battle of effectiveness.
And we want to do not just the wall. Certainly, that's one of the most important factors. We know that it works. We know that in the places that it's been, it's 95% effective. We want to be effective across the board, and that includes the wall and other technology.
And that's the frustration. So you hear her, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And by the way, Chris, he called her out on it on numerous occasions about, when she brought up terrorism. He says, look, I looked it up, and you say there's 4,000 people that have come here that are, known terrorists or have links to terror organizations. And out of those 4,400, 4,200 tried to come through the visa program and were caught at airports or ports, and they weren't caught at the border. So it doesn't mean that people haven't gotten by, right? Doesn't mean any of those things. But if you're going to let's be at least honest. But so she say it's pretty effective, 95% effective.
Just about every expert you speak to says that there's far more effective ways to deal with the border. Drones, helicopters, some kinds of fencing in some places, not a wall.
Is that semantic? Well, we want a fence. Well, so you want a wall. No. We want it to be a fence. Like a wall? No. We want it to be a fence. Can it be a concrete fence? Can it? This is what we're battling over. Semantics. It's BS. It's wordplay. Right? It's wordplay. And I've said it all along, and I'll continue to say it. It's a symbol for both sides. A symbol of victory for Trump, if he gets his wall, of which his presidency was built upon more than anything else. And for the left, it's a symbol of hate.
It's a terrible symbol. And symbols matter. I think most New Yorkers and most Americans agree with me. We want the symbol of America to stay as the Statue of Liberty, not a big concrete wall.
Okay, here, most New Yorkers, right? Once again, coastal elitism, and I'm going to throw it out there. Are you an Arizona farmer? Are you on the border in Texas? No. Your wall is an ocean, right? It's like, oh my God, people from New Jersey came in. What? People from Vermont are trying to get in. No way. Yeah. Delaware, here they come. No. Your wall is an ocean. So think about that for a second, right? There are some places, I think, you know what? It may slow. Well, I don't think it's going to stop. If somebody wants to get here, they're going to do anything. By any means necessary, they're going to try to get here. I've been down. I've seen some of the beautiful wall in the Rio Grande. And I've seen all the ladders they've had. People getting over. People really want to get here. They're going to try. As I drove from Phoenix to San Diego this past week, I saw one Border Patrol in the flats area where the sand and stuff is, where you could see a portion of the fence. It was one person, and then there was a tower that had, like, electronics up on it. That's it. That's it. If anybody wants to get here, they can. Right? But, again, again, we're fighting over names and BS. And we've got real people who have real issues out there, and they're going to be struggling and struggling and struggling when it comes to this because they depend on the government. I'm not talking about the workers themselves. Although somebody texted in last hour, said, hey, Chad, my husband's got to go get an Uber job because we're not going to get paid. It's a struggle. It's awful on what they're fighting for because it's just at this point in time, it's a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of games. It's a bunch of baloney. It really is. Sort it out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. We got a poll question up. Simple, easy poll question, too. How long do you think this thing's going to go on for? Is it going to end this week? Is it going to go on for a month or so through January? Is it going to last months or years? 59% of you say it's going to go on through January. I think it's going to go on through the beginning of February, and I think they will get something done. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. He's going to give a prime time speech. I don't know what's in there. I don't know if he's going to come out and say, I've declared a state of emergency and I'm going to try to find some money and some way to do things. It's possible. The whole point is, how do you let either side not feel like they lost? That's a big question. Because that, in so many ways, is what it's about. It's both sides want a victory. You know, for all the talk about, we should really be worried about this is a national emergency. The debt is a national emergency, right? That's a huge emergency that we're completely ignoring right now. Just completely ignore. That is a huge emergency. To me, I look at that and think that if something's going to destroy us, it's that. It is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. And by the way, we are getting closer and closer to that American fun thing that only we do, which is, of course, kids, election time. What? Wait, what? Yeah, 2020 is right here.
She spoke of growing up poor in Oklahoma, a close call with foreclosure on her family home, her brothers and their service in the military, getting into college, and then she would like to say that she fell in love, get some laughs from the audience. She dropped out young to raise her family, and then eventually she became a U.S. senator. So her message was that she sort of got that American dream, and now she sees Washington corruption as taking it away, and she wants to fight to take it back.
Elizabeth Warren, right? Could have been anybody, but it's Elizabeth Warren. There she is. She's ready to go. The weekend, this is it. We're in earnest now. I mean, there are people that are saying yes or no. Biden said today, very, very soon, I'm expecting within the next 10 days that he's going to come out and decide whether or not he's going to run for the presidency. And Elizabeth Warren, though, she's the first one to throw her war bonnet into the ring.
She focused on her humble roots over everything. Over and over, she turned the focus from party divide to common American values. She barely ever mentioned that she was a former law professor at Harvard.
Yeah, or she rarely mentions that she was a former Native American, but has since renounced her Native Americanness. Chad, that's tough. I'm telling you guys, that's tough. She didn't have any chance. She didn't have any chance. Then you got Bernie, whose own state's coming out saying, please don't run. Please, whatever you do, don't run. It's far too important. Please don't run. Please. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Did you see Pakistan Airlines sent out a email to all of its employees that fly saying you're fat and you got 6 months to lose weight, otherwise we're going to ground you? And I'm like, okay, I read some of it, and the first thing that came to my mind, if it's that close, right? Like if it's that close, where they're going, how much do you weigh? And my thought process is this because we may go down? Then I'm going to choose another airlines. We know you have many airlines to choose, and you wanted to choose a thinner one. But some of what they're saying is because some of the ladies, and remember it's Pakistan Airlines, don't shoot the messenger, complaints of being obese and fat. Ew. So there's a look. And some of it, look, you go on Emirates and you go on several of these other like really high-end shishi airlines, there is a look. You're not going to find old, grizzled, 67-year-old woman who's been in the air for 55 years or some dude who's like totally disheveled, right? It's a look they want to purvey. But if they're talking about weight, my first thought is, yeah, I'm going to pass. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. New year! So why not use new technology to make sure your home is safe? So let's say you want to spot the burglar, right? So you're looking around and you go, man, what if there's a burglar? When do you want to spot that burglar? When they get in your house, take all your stuff and leave, and then you look back and go, oh, or before they ever get there. That's what Blink does, right? They're going to alert you to things like that, right? How about this woman, Shannon, right? She caught a burglar right there. The Blink's looking camera caught the thief stealing packages. Next thing you know, boom, Blink gets all their information. Next thing you know, bing, bang, boom. They're caught and convicted. That's right. Blink, motion-activated indoor and outdoor cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, which is really important to me because I'm not a big setup person. Activate indoor and outdoor cameras. It is incredible. They run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. Let's just say you're traveling, right? They got live feed options so you can monitor your home, check into your pets anywhere using the Blink smartphone app. No contracts, no subscriptions, totally affordable, and Blink works with Alexa. So what are you waiting for? Blink camera systems make great gifts. They're a brilliant way to monitor your package deliveries. Visit blinkproject.com/Benson. 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 And I'm telling you guys, right? It's amazing what this thing will do for you because it's incredible. I've used it. Blinkprotect.com/Benson. 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 Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
Oh, man. So it's 2019, and I find this to be very interesting as we move into 2019 because the younger generation is coming out and they're working and we've got the Gen Xers, right? You know, that's us, right? And then we've got the millennial generation. Now we've got the Generation Z.
Do you work with Generation Zs? Then you've probably experienced this.
They're going to ask why. Like, why am I being given this task? Why am I being assigned this? As opposed to just being given a task and going away and doing it. They want to understand the rationale.
Mark Beal, a professor at Rutgers University, on what sets Zs apart.
They're looking for mentors, not managers. They're looking to bring technology and apps and solutions that they've been using in college to the workforce to create greater efficiencies, especially as it relates to time.
Beal is the author of Decoding Generation Z 101.
Yeah, so I find that to be very interesting that they're going to ask a lot of why questions, like your kids do, right? Like Jack does. Why? And it's for some of it's curiosity, but when he said that they want mentors, not managers, that's where I think the clash is going to come because they're going to want to do things their way comparatively to what you're doing. And in some ways, and this is what a good manager comes in, you can look at something and say to self, what do you have for me? What do you have for me that's better? You've got technology. You have an understanding of technology. I want to know about technology. That sounds great. If you've got a better way, then that's fine. But until you can prove it out, boom. Right? You can be a bit of a mentor, but you got to have an understanding of what it is to be, a manager. And I think in this day and age, I don't care if it's sports or whatever it is, you have to manage everybody differently nowadays. You can manage a 50-year-old you're going to have to manage them completely different than you're going to manage a 30-year-old or younger. Right? It's just a different way you're going to manage. absolutely a different way you're going to manage. CES is going on. Very exciting. Consumer Electronics Show.
More autonomous cars, drones, foldable display screens, 8K TVs, and the biggest game changer will be 5G, which is the first major evolution in wireless infrastructure in nearly a decade, and how it'll be implemented into smart devices and given a practical use.
Yeah, I can't wait. We talked to Paul Limon, our tech guru, and he said once the 5G hits, it's your phone world is going to change exponentially. Your phone's going to work 1,000 miles an hour faster. The 8Ks, the 10Ks, you know what? At some point in time, what are you just going to do? Are we just going to have holograms of people acting things out in our room? Probably at some point in time. Not there, but the 5G I'm very excited about. And the other thing they were saying that's going to be huge this year at CES is protection, consumer protection, not from hackers, but from the marketers themselves is a big thing that people are interested in, is how do we protect ourselves from geolocation and all of our information? How do we protect our data? Not so much from the crazy hackers, which you should be able, you want to, but from the people that are supposed to be, quote unquote, on your side. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Imagine going on a date, if you will, and then the nightmare begins. Oh, boy, did it. Just kept going and going and going. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Do you think the President Trump should use emergency powers to fund the border wall?
Presidents have authority to defend the nation. The president has asked every single cabinet secretary and the Office of Management and Budget to go out and find money that can be used legally to guard the southern border, which is exactly what we're going to do.
So you would support it if you wanted to do it?
I'm actually heavily involved with it and have been working with all of the cabinet secretaries to try and find money that we can legally use to defend the southern border.
Mick Mulvaney right there talking to Anderson Cooper. He was all over this weekend, as were a lot of people on Trump's wall/shutdown. How can they get the money? They're looking anywhere they possibly can. Where can they get the money? What's going to end up happening? How can we fix this nightmare that is this shutdown? How long is this thing going to go on? And I think it's going to go on at least through the State of the Union, which is going to be, the 29th? I think that is, it's the last Tuesday of January, State of the Union. So if it goes on through then, you're looking into February. By the time people get paid again, it could be, for some, it'll be the second week of February. Let's just say it earns early February, probably second week of February. For others, they may not get paid until the end of February at best, early March. And that hurts. And it's not just the people that are either furloughed, some 400,000 that are furloughed, or the 420,000 that are working. They're not getting paid, but they're working. And when the government reopens and they get, their paycheck, it'll reflect the hours that they work. But it's also the people that are counting on benefits like SNAP and things of that nature. And it is, a lot of people are, really, really worried that, hey, we're not going to get anything.
It is our food allocation for the month. Everything that we get, it's just meant for whatever meals we have.
Yeah, and people are worried. And their fears may be realized. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from you. So we were talking earlier about the Gen. So we've got Gen X, and then we've got the millennials, Gen Y. We're gonna have Gen Z coming out, and this generation. And when you look out there and you look at the hottest skills, obviously computer skills are vitally important. You name the kind of computer skills that are out there, some of the stuff, the 5 big in-demand skills: UX designer, people management, analytical reasoning, AI, and cloud computing. But then there's soft skills, and this is something that I think a generation misses. So we're going to count down the top 5 soft skills you need that are super in demand, especially if you're younger. Now let's do this, kids. All right, you ready for this? I'm just laughing. The fact that we have to have soft skills. People don't understand what soft skills are. I don't really get what a soft skill is. Well, I know. That's why I'm going to teach you what a soft skill is.
Number 5.
All right, here it is. Number 5, soft skills. Do you have this? Time management. Do you manage your time wisely? It's big. It's vitally important. Very big. Many people out there struggle with that one.
Number 4.
Adaptability. These are soft skills. Top 5 soft skills needed right now. Adaptability. How adaptable are you to situations? If you end up, you're in an area, you're working with somebody you don't like, can you adapt to what's going on there? And conversely, if they move you to another area, are you easily able to adapt to said area and the place you're working? For a lot of people, that's a huge struggle. They get into a situation where they're comfortable, and any kind of thing that takes them out of that comfort zone, you see the wheels come off that bus rather quickly.
Number 3.
I love this one. Collaboration. Can you collaborate with people? Working well with others, essentially. Do you work well with others? I tend to work well with others. I get along with people, right? I get along with people. But I know a lot of people that don't, right? I know a lot of people that do not work well with others. They have their set way that they do things, and they don't want anybody involved in that. But when you're looking at soft skills, kids, not hard skills, these are skills that are going to put you over the top. Can you collaborate? Are you adaptable? Do you have good time management? These are just a few of the things you need. Oh, don't worry, though. We're not done.
Number 2.
Persuasion. Can you persuade people on your idea? And do you have a good way to persuade people? Are you, I'm going to stick the square block through a round hole, or are you able to persuade people to your ideas? Do you have a good way about you that not only could persuade people to your ideas, but if you're a salesperson, if you're having to go out and do things, talk in front of people, can you persuade them in a way that is less bully and is more subtle?
Number 1.
Creativity. How creative are you? Are you creative in the things that you do? Can you look at a problem and solve it creatively? And this is one of the things when I was reading about this, they were talking about the fact that a lot of times people, they can't get past the first wall, the first obstacle. They struggle with it. Are you creative enough on your own to get around these things? Top 5 soft skills: time management, adaptability, collaboration, persuasion, creativity. You have those, you will be much in demand. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. I guess yesterday was the biggest day of the year as far as online dating goes. People setting up profiles, doing things like this. Now, you got the Me Too world. You've got the world of, people are worried, hey, I don't really know this guy or gal. We're going to go on a date, blah, 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 blah. I get it. And there's reason to worry at times because some people are crazy. And not just a little bit crazy, like full-blown cuckoo.
You talked about how you wanted to cut up his body, how you wanted to remove his organs, how you wanted to remove his circulatory. Do you remember?
I would never do that. Well, I said if he left me, if we were together and he left me.
Okay. So if you were saying that if
we ever were together, that I love him so much that I would do those things.
If he left you?
Me, yeah. Okay.
So I want you guys to understand that. I would never do that unless, and this is a big unless, he left me. Who is she? Her name is Jacqueline. She went on a date with a guy. Originally, they thought it was about 65,000 messages. It is now well above 65. They're looking at 150,000 plus messages she sent after one date. CEO of a Scottsdale-based company went out with her and said, you know what? No, I'm going to pass. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. And then it started to the point where she came inside of his house, and you could tell she's got severe issues, right? Because, I would never do that. Well, by never, I mean, yeah, I would if you left me. The fact that you're giving an interview talking about that shows you everything I need to know that maybe the elevator doesn't go to the top.
These are the things you might do to him?
No, I could never do that.
Okay. Then why'd you say them?
I don't know. Something came over me.
Okay. You talk about wearing his, when you say face.
Fascia.
What does that mean?
Fascia is like the thing that covers all of the muscles.
Yeah.
I would wear fascia on his skull. I wouldn't actually do that.
But you said it.
It's funny.
No, it's not.
Okay, sorry.
It scared him a lot.
Yeah, because you got into his house, and when they came and arrested you, in your car, you had a Michael Myers butcher knife. All right? You brought your dogs. That doesn't happen. Right? And apparently the site that she went to caters to millionaires. It's called Luxy. She broke in and she took a bath. You know what's sad is people are looking at her mugshot and going, she's all right.
You're talking about taking out his muscles and his organs and wearing his skin, and I mean that.
I didn't think it was scary. I mean, he does this to me. He called the police on me.
Yeah, did you say things like this?
I mean, I didn't say that the first couple times he did call the police on me.
But you've said it since he called the police on you, right? So after we arrested you, that's when you sent all those texts.
Is it?
I believe so, isn't it?
Oh, because when I went to jail, I realized how much I missed him.
Oh, my God. There's some guy sitting around going, that's my ex-girlfriend. I told you guys she was nuts, and none of you guys believe me. You're like, oh, so-and-so's a jerk. How could he? Uh-huh. What do you think, Phil?
No.
My God. Oh, yeah, that time when you arrested me because I was going to chop him into bits and pieces and eat his liver. I was just kidding, but not really. I love him, but I want to eat him. Don't ever leave me because I'll kill you. Jeez. How is she single? That's what I want to know. How is she? She's got problems, right? Can we all admit? I mean, it's sad that we're sitting here laughing at that, but she's got problems. But if you're 159,000 text messages to one person after one date, break into his house and take a bath, I think he's giving up on the dating thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Got a Twitter poll up today. How long do you think this here, shutdown, standoff is going to go on for in the government? Many of you think like I do, it's going to go on through this month. I think next month it'll get solved, but I think that they're going to take it through. He and Sean Hannity are going to take it through the State of the Union. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can text the program as well. Car Shield. I drive a lot. Drove a lot this weekend. That's what I do. In fact, from Friday till this morning, I drove almost 1,000 miles. I know my car's protected. That's the beauty of it. I got extended vehicle protection from Car Shield. Do the same thing. 2019's here. Your car's getting a little longer in the tooth. You don't want to go out and spend any new money, but you want to have that protection on the downside as a what if, right? As a what if. And the beauty of Car Shield is you can pick your favorite mechanic. You take it back to dealership. It's your choice. They provide you 24/7 roadside assistance and a rental car while your car is being fixed for free. Your car has, say, 5,000 to 150,000 miles. Call Car Shield right now. You know they've paid out to close to $2 billion That's what their administrators have played out, and they're ready to get you covered. Get the ultimate in extended vehicle protection. Do what I did. Call CarShield, 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson, or visit carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. That's carshield.com, or code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
I do wonder how long this thing's going to go on for. The fighting. 3 weeks we're into this damn thing. 3 weeks we're into this thing. And you can't tell me that they can't get something done. And people are texting in, well, you know, both sides argue over this. It's like, well, it's going to work. It's not. I don't know if it's going to work or not. We wouldn't know for years. First of all, if they gave him $5 billion today, it is going to be years before it's fully implemented, right? It's going to take a long time to get that, use that $5 billion up to build something. All the while, more and more people are still going to be coming here. The system's still going to be broken. The Democrats and the Republicans have both played games. Everybody has got a part to play in this giant mess. Everybody does. Every single person has a part to play in this. The Republicans, the Democrats, and President. Now, while President Trump is trying to fix something, the way he goes about stuff at times is it's not very subtle. It's very in your face. It is at times, you know what? I don't always agree with him. In fact, I said last night, and this is great. This just shows you some of the cult of personality that he has built up and the cult-like following that he has. I was awoken today, going around, looking at my messages. You know, here we are, start of a new year. Even though I was back last year, most people are back. And I get this from his people because I don't live in a world of insanity that some people do. Not everybody, right? Not everybody. But there are some out there that have this kind of, this bizarre, like, cult-like belief for this dude. And I want him to be successful. I've always said I want him to be successful. And if you want somebody who is just going to do whatever he wants to do, at times tell porky pies, which is lies, I'm sorry. That's not, you know, I'm going to call him out when I think that I want the truth. This guy says, blank you, I kind of liked your show, but I'll never listen to it again. You stated you're not a fan of the president, so blank you and your kids. And I just laughed. I'm like, first of all, I never said I wasn't a fan of the president. I've said over and over again, I don't like some of the methods. I want him to be successful. I'm not a fan of any politician, right? I'm a fan of Manchester United soccer team. I'm a fan of the New England Patriots. I like the Rams, but they're still, you know, we have a touch-and-go relationship because they left me. They broke my heart, but they've come back, right? I like the Doyers, right? Fan of the Kings. Like, I'm not a fan of politicians. I want them to be successful. But that's a cult-like personality he's built up with his people. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward in this and the way that this thing gets hashed out, because both sides want to win. Both sides want to win. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, he is going to give a primetime speech, and obviously it's going to be about the wall, the shutdown, the whole 9 yards. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how he approaches this tomorrow night.
In 2017, the U.S. withdrew half the personnel from its embassy in Havana when several officials reported getting sick after hearing a mysterious noise. The Associated Press posted this recording of that noise. At the time, the U.S. accused Cuba of launching a sonic attack, but now 2 researchers suggest the workers were just hearing crickets like these. The researchers from Berkeley and the UK have not had their findings published or peer-reviewed, but they determined the Cuba noise matches cricket noise in duration, power spectrum, and pulse. Cuba has called the allegations of a sonic attack mass hysteria.
That's a bunch of crap. Let me tell you something. Because of all the animals that I have, a lot of them still, even my big giant lizards that are 5-6 feet long, I feed them a ton of crickets. I have crickets in the house in special cages because my ears are just fine. I call baloney. I think China has this. I think Cuba has it. Yeah, sorry. That's the truth. And every pet shop owner has an issue that's coming sooner rather than later. 323-538-2423. Useless fact of the day, table tennis. You know how hard they hit the ball? At times, world-class table tennis players will hit the ball at almost 100 miles an hour. Think about that for a second. So tiny. I don't even know how they get up there and play tennis. Tennis is crazy. Oh, it's table tennis. Have a good day. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.